What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And if you guys have been watching YouTube lately, you probably heard some of your favorite creators talking about this YouTube Adpocolypse. So today, I want to talk a little bit about how it's affecting the entire website, how it's affecting me, how it's affecting some of your favorite creators like H3H3, and just what it's going to mean for YouTube in general. And as usual, I'm going to try to stay as unbiased as humanly possible here, but just know this is definitely going to affect people that I watch every day, and even more importantly to me, it is going to affect me, specifically my Francis videos, which is very frustrating. So if you wanted to hear me talk about that, stick around at the end of the video when we get to my opinion. So I'm pretty sure most of you are fairly well informed up to this point, but let me give you a general recap of what has happened here. So YouTube has always been an ad-driven website. Well, basically since Google got involved. But the reason Google bought the website at all was so that they could use it and integrate it to their AdSense program so that they could have advertisements appear alongside, on top of, maybe even during videos. And this is how YouTube has made its money. Well, it hasn't really made a lot of money. In fact, it's broken even for the most part. But that's how YouTubers like me have made our money and how YouTube has stayed afloat. And when AdSense was integrated with YouTube, they did not really care about the type of content you were creating. As long as it fit YouTube's community guidelines, they would put advertisers on top of it. And even then, sometimes if it was a little bit extreme, it would still get by. In fact, generally they would only pull advertisers whenever it was flagged as mature or flagged as offensive by the community. But otherwise, most of the time you would get advertisements on the majority of videos, especially those that weren't particularly offensive, maybe a little edgy, maybe talking about news or social issues. But for the most part, they didn't do a lot of policing. But about 2 years ago, I think YouTube saw the winds of change coming, and they decided to change with it. So they started putting changes into the website in place, whether it's YouTube community changes or programs that would help them police YouTube, all in an effort to try to keep offensive content from getting monetized and advertisers deciding to pull out because of that. And a lot of people blame this on social justice warriors and social justice and how everybody's easily triggered and offended these days. And I think that does play a small role in it, but I think really all you have to do is follow the money and realize the money will show you what the truth is. All of this comes down to one thing: advertisers' confidence. The people paying for the advertisements need to feel confident that their money is being spent effectively. And if you talk to somebody who's produced for Hollywood and also produced for YouTube, they will tell you something very interesting. For every dollar that's spent on YouTube, for the exact same amount of ad time to show the exact same advertisement, they might spend $5 or $10 or even more to show that same advertisement on a television program. I think YouTube originally started all of these plans to try to make advertisers feel more confident about who they're advertising with and how they're advertising. I think that might have been the goal all along, even with multi-channel networks and things along that lines. Only now, with all these different controversies that have come up, we've eroded that advertisers' confidence so bad that they've actually pulled out of YouTube. Some have even pulled out of AdSense. And over the last few weeks, we have seen YouTube make some drastic changes trying to get those advertiser dollars back. So if you've been paying attention over the last month or so, or really the last few months, we've seen the non-advertiser friendly option where they will check a box for a video and let you know that that video is not advertiser friendly and it was an all or nothing system. Absolutely no way will you see advertisements on this video. It is not advertiser friendly. And that was very frustrating because obviously if you work your heart out and make a 10-minute video, which can often take hours or days or even months to put together, and then it's flagged as non-advertiser friendly, that can get you in a very frustrating situation, having spent a lot of money producing that content. And along with these changes over the last 6 months, it seems like they have definitely moved the marker of what they consider to be advertiser friendly and non-advertiser friendly. When YouTube was the Wild West way back in 2008 and 2009, pretty much any video was advertiser friendly. In the last couple of years, though, it can be even some of the very minor issues talking about social issues or religion or things along that lines. They're definitely pulling back on what they consider to be advertiser friendly. And you can be upset with YouTube for doing that, but I don't think that they are doing that to try to police the website. I don't think they were trying to do that to shut certain channels down. I think they're just trying to respond to what advertisers want. It's all about following the money. Now, if your reaction is, that's awful hypocritical of those advertisers to not want to advertise on a YouTube video of your favorite creator because he happens to swear or maybe talks about something that's unpopular, but then when you turn on the news, they advertise on the news, they advertise on The Walking Dead, they advertise on the Amy Schumer show where she talks about her vagina. Why are they willing to advertise there and not here? That's hypocritical. And I agree 100%. That is absurdly hypocritical, but this seems to be how they want it. But if we're following the money, we can probably realize that it has very little to do with the type of content they're advertising on and much more to do with driving down the price that they have to spend to advertise here. I honestly think that's it. Follow the money. And this leads us to the latest development here with YouTube. And to me, it seems like sort of a compromise between YouTubers and advertisers, YouTube trying to be the middleman. Rather than flagging a video as non-advertiser friendly, they're now marking them as advertiser friendly and trying to put as many advertisements on it as they possibly can, giving tools to the advertiser to choose what type of content they want their ads to appear on. So if you take a look at this tweet by Ethan, you can see a screenshot of what advertisers will see when they run an ad on YouTube now. They can either choose to appear on all content or all content except mature and unlabeled content, which is how it used to be for a really long time, or all content except mature, unlabeled, and sensitive topics, and of course there's even a customized option. And under the custom options, you can choose tragedy and conflict, sensitive social issues, even sexually suggestive content, sensational and shocking content, and of course, profanity and rough language. And that's what's going to new to those Francis videos, by the way. And this sounds like a fairly decent compromise in theory, but in practice, it has a lot of downsides. Specifically, this effectively gets rid of a lot of different types of channels here on YouTube that people really enjoy. And if you're wanting to create a gun show video or a self-defense video or a channel dedicated to that kind of stuff, exploding stuff, or talking about the news, or even doing controversial humor, you have effectively been fired from the website. You were going to earn a fraction of what you used to be able to earn from this, which for a lot of people was just barely enough to find time to do it as a hobby, and in a few rare cases, able to find it enough to do it as a full-time job. And for some of the established creators that you watch every day, this effectively fires them. Your Filthy Franks and your iDubbbz and your Max Mofos and your How-To Basics, even your H3H3s, these are people who effectively have been told, we're not going to pay you for the type of content you produce, or at least the advertisers are choosing that. I don't think YouTube's choosing that. YouTube's giving them the option, but advertisers are definitely choosing to not advertise on those videos. And what's even more frustrating about this is YouTube is not being very open about how this stuff is being determined. They have said they are hiring some physical people to actually look at videos, but I think most of this stuff is going to be kicked out by an algorithm, and there's no telling how that algorithm works. We don't know if it looks at individual videos. We don't know if certain channels have been flagged as untrustworthy. We really don't know how this happens. And when you talk to people like Philip DeFranco and H3H3, you're saying that their videos are not flagged as non-advertiser friendly right now, but there's certainly no advertisers appearing on top of them. One has to wonder, is somebody just watching these high-tier YouTubers and checking them off individual by video, or whether or not their channel is just in some sort of shit-tier system where they have to prove themselves and prove each individual video as to whether or not it's safe to advertise on. I honestly don't know, but if I had to guess, I would say they flag entire channels. And this even puts YouTubers like me into a very sticky situation, because even though the majority of my content is family friendly, I do those Francis videos. And I can tell you, based on our Easter Francis video, we are earning a fraction of what we used to earn off of Francis videos, because I genuinely believe advertisers are avoiding it, and those videos are getting flagged due to profanity and other things. And because YouTube isn't telling me how this works, there's no way for me to tell whether a Francis video has been flagged or not. I don't know if advertisers are appearing on it, and if they aren't, why? All I can see really is the bottom line. This leaves me scratching my head moving forward. Should I continue to make Francis videos knowing that I'll be doing them at a loss? You know, we spend dozens, hundreds of dollars on props and even pay people to appear in the videos occasionally for Francis. Is that something I can afford to continue to do? What's worse, because I don't know whether or not they are flagging entire channels. I think they are, but I don't know for certain. But can I even risk uploading a new Francis video? What if it crosses the line? What if it gets flagged too many times? Will it get my entire channel flagged? That's the position it puts me in. It puts me in a very specific position where I need to say and do specific things if I want to continue to do this for my livelihood. And here's the thing, I don't have a lot of options. And if that's the kind of situation I find myself in, and I'm confused, and I'm kind of an expert on this stuff and been doing it for a decade, could you imagine what it's got to be like for someone who's just really made it in the last couple of years? Or what about the person who's never made it? Like, can you imagine? And YouTube is not answering any of these questions for anybody, not even for me. But here is a little bit of advice for both the viewers out there and the creators out there. There are plenty of other ways to generate enough revenue to survive off of other than just AdSense here on YouTube. And we'll talk about those a little bit. I recommend this for any of the people out there who are scratching their heads, even some of the biggest guys. Just know there's plenty of options. Obviously, crowdsourcing is a great way to do this. For those of you with smaller channels who want to make it big, consider Patreon. You know, some of my favorite Magic the Gathering creators use Patreon very successfully and manage to stay afloat, even if their content can be a little bit edgy from time to time. Then, of course, don't forget merchandising. I think probably the best example of that would be Philip DeFranco, who kind of has a news show, but in reality, Phil, admit it, you're a t-shirt salesman. Probably the most sensible and the most lucrative way to do this is to just remove YouTube as the middleman. Go directly to the brands that you like, speak with a representative there, and get them to advertise directly on your show. And of course, you can do that through a Emotes channel network. That's what those are originally supposed to be for, is to be ad brokers for you. But I tend to do that for myself, going directly to brands that I trust and brands that trust me, and creating that type of content. And I know not everybody likes a pre-roll or a post-roll as part of their videos, but if it keeps the videos coming, I think most people are willing to set through it. But above all else, if we're going to follow the money to where it is. And a lot of those cases, it is on competing services, Twitch probably being the most profitable of them. That's why I started the Twitch stream 3 years ago, because I know what I'm doing. That's why I didn't stream here on YouTube. Instead, I streamed on Twitch, because I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. And now we're seeing PewDiePie and H3 and a lot of other great people join me over there on Twitch. And I think it's a really good business decision, as long as you, the viewer, are willing to follow us over there. But for people like Ethan who are leaving YouTube because YouTube finds them to be controversial, let me warn you, Twitch is pretty high-strung too. You better be real careful over there. But the reality of it is, for the last 2 years, a lot of us have been making a lot of the sky is falling videos. Well, guess what? The sky is on the ground right now, and for a lot of people, it's leaving them in a very bad situation. And I hope that as we change as creators, and we change our business models, and we change our content, you guys will change with us and continue to support us in a variety of different ways. Those of you who watched me for years know that I've done all kinds of crazy stuff. I've tried different things. I'm even trying 6 or 7 new things here on the channel right now this year. I'm constantly evolving and constantly changing. That's why I've been around for 10 years, for a decade. And I will never be as successful as Ethan. I'll never be as successful as Philip DeFranco, but I'm glad to have the success that I have, and I owe that success to you. If you guys don't continue to support your favorite creators like H3 or Scarce or whoever it is, whoever you love, if you don't follow them and you don't help them out, they're nothing. We are effectively nothing without you guys. That's my opinion. Not everybody shares it, but I think it's objectively true. And you know what? I will tell you, it is real easy to be mad at YouTube here. And I am. I'm not afraid to admit it. I am very frustrated, but I try to keep one simple thing in mind. They are forced to change with the times, just like the rest of us. I also try to keep in mind the fact that this partnership program ever existed at all is amazing. And the fact that it has lasted as long as it has without somebody getting mass sued or something terrible happening, I'm so grateful for it. Every single day is a bonus to me, and I am very happy about it. But the sky has fallen. We are there. A lot of people who said, I will do this job for free, now it's time for us to prove it. But as for me and my family, I don't want you worrying about us. We are probably going to be okay. We have a very dedicated fan base that takes care of me on Twitch and on Patreon. Then on top of that, we're still getting some advertiser money, a little more than everybody else. Not what we used to get, but we're still getting some. And then on top of that, you know, I'm a smart businessman, so I diversified. And I also have an anxiety disorder that told me that one day the sky would fall, so I put away as much money as I could, and we put away a lot. So we are going to be okay, and we'll be producing content for quite some time. And by the way, YouTube, even if you don't like the Francis videos, and even if the advertisers don't like the Francis videos, we're going to still make them. We're going to figure out a way to make them, even if we have to put them over on their own channel, a channel that you refuse to advertise on. As long as the fans still want to watch them, and I still want to make them, they're still happening. To my fellow creators, I wish you the best of luck in this new reality. I see a lot of infighting. I see a lot of people going at each other's throats. I see a lot of people throwing their hands up, and I see a lot of other people attacking each other. I sure hope that doesn't come my way. But for those of you who are using your brains and using your hearts to diversify and figure out new systems, more power to you. If you ever need any advice, let me know. And for those of you who are watching at home, don't worry. The videos are going to keep coming. I promise you. Even Filthy Frank is going to keep doing it, because I got to tell you, Filthy Frank probably hasn't been getting paid for a long time. But he still sells records, and if you're buying records, he's going to be okay. Guys, I really appreciate you. Thanks for taking such good care of me. Do me a favor. Go out there today. Find a creator that you love, specifically a smaller creator with, 75,000 subs, maybe 500,000 subs, who definitely is not making ends meet in this brave, scary new world. Show them a little love. Hug them to death. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine.